Here, I'm going to teach you something really cool. So we were here somewhere lost in all the curves. That was really fine, really cool technique. But DaVinci Resolve 19 has introduced a really cool technique of color grading, which is very similar to curves, but it's even better. The color slice. So if you go here, and this is available in the free version as well. So we go here with the color slice, and here you see that there's red, skin, yellow, all different types of colors. Here, if you see, there's a little droplet. I don't know why they make it droplet. That is the saturation. And this is the density. So density works the same as the luminance. Let's reset it and let's give you an example. Here what we did was we did the color changes in the sky, the skin, the greens, and all that sort of stuff. So here what we're gonna do, we're gonna disable this. So I'm just gonna select all the three nodes, or just select with the mouse and then disable it by Command D or Control D. And once I have disabled it, now I can still make new nodes. So now all this information is gone and my image is how it looked after the color boost. Here, what we can do, if you see the skin, so these, like all these, how they have divided the colors is by, separating what kind of color it is. So here is just reds, here is just skin, yellow, greens. So what we can do is that let's try to do something with the skin color. So I still think that it's a bit yellowish, because you can see that the skin is kind of coming a little bit under than the vectorscope line. So what we're going to do, first let's see what is DaVinci Resolve even selecting in the skin. So if we go press highlight, then it's going to show that, yeah, that is the region what is DaVinci Resolve is thinking that is the skin in the video, which is pretty accurate. Sometimes it's not. So if it's not, then what do? You can click here so you can consistently see what is going on, and then you could change the center. So just the skin, so if I go towards the right, it's also selecting the yellow bag, which I don't want to select. So I would go towards the left until the point where just the skin, at least the skin is properly selected, which was in the center. But yeah, that was just for the sake of this example. So here what we can do, deselect it, and here if you go to density and if you reduce it down, that increases the brightness if you bring it down. But if you go up, then it makes the skin a bit more dull. You can see the on the arms and also on the face it looks a bit weird. So if I just go up, down, down, down and reduce the density, so it becomes a bit more bright. So let's go before and after. There's a little bit of glow, very minor glow. If I go all the way, you can see that there's a bit more glow in the skin. I will just keep it a bit more neutral. And then here is the saturation. So if you go all the way up, that increases saturation of the skin, and that can also reduce the saturation. So if we go a little bit higher, the skin saturation is increased a little bit. So you can change the saturation and the density, and of course you can change the hues as well. So if you see this line, and if we go, and I'm just focusing on the vector scope, so it should be lying under this guideline. So if we go here all the way this way, then it's pink, all the way this way, then it's green. We should make sure that it's just here. So if you go full screen, we have the exact same result as how we had with the curves. So now you don't really have to select the curves and it's all working fine. Same with the sky. I am hoping that it should be in cyan or blue. Yeah, it is in. And let's see what's in blue. So blue is also sky, but not that much. But yeah, let's change the density. Maybe it becomes bright. Let's make it a little bit bright. Increase the saturation. You see, we go down. Saturation is gone. Increase the saturation a little bit. And then change the hues. We go more towards the left. So if you go more towards the left, we go more towards the right. So it gives a bit more teal-ish look before and after. And then we can also change the greens and magenta and yellows. So yellow is here, I hope it's selecting the bag, and there's also, like, the green is not really green in this image, it's more yellowish. But if we select it, and then if we move the center, then we can see what is DaVinci Resolve selecting. So if we go all the way to the left, it is just selecting this yellow. And if we change the density towards a bit more reddish, so you see, it's not really significant change. Now you can see the difference, but it's also affecting the skin a little bit. So I'm not gonna go too crazy, just here. And maybe the greens, let's see what does DaVinci think is green is. I would go here, select with a highlight. So greens are not everything, just these grass and the little bit of trees is green, which is a really good news. So I would deselect it and I would maybe make it a little bit saturated. So you go all the way, you make it super saturated, little bit saturated, and then maybe make it a bit more warm. Here is, you know, dark green and this is a bit more warm. And now if you go full screen, let's go before and after. This gives a certain look, but obviously it's not as clear as how we had in the graphs here. Because yeah, in the graph you can really see what color is going and where it is to what degree. Here it's more numbers. But yeah, for beginners I think this is also a really good tool, because here you can see everything in the image, that if you want to change the color of the red, change the saturation, change the luminance, you can just change it by just going here. But yeah, that is Color Slice, super handy for beginners. And now let's move to what I would do. I would just reset it for now. And I would activate these nodes, because I personally think that this is a bit more like visually appealing to me. But yeah, it's totally up to you. And then after this, what are we gonna do? We're gonna go to primary color wheels and give a bit more flavor to this image, because now it looks good. We changed the color of certain things, but in the next section, we're gonna be changing the color of the entire image. So in this section, let's color grade by using primary color wheels. So here in the beginning, we were using primary color wheels to, you know, change the exposure, like you can see here, change the exposure of the image. But here we want to use it to change the look of the image. I want like a super summer look in this image. So what I would do, if you go to the parade, if I change anything in gain, any color, because you see now this thing is in the center. If I move towards the orange, it becomes, you know, orange reddish. If I move this way, so all the brighter areas becomes like this. Maybe if we have an image which has a bit more such, you know, difference between the bright and dark, that would be. So let's check this image. So if in this image, we go all the way like this, then you have the image looking like this. We go all the way like this, then you have the image looking like this. So what are we gonna do is to give a really nice summer look. So maybe that is the frame. Maybe that is the master frame, like this. Here we're gonna bring the gain to a bit more orange, a bit more warm side. So you see, you might have seen these look in cinemas. That looks pretty good. So you can also see the numbers are changing. So I am moving more towards the, you see, reddish side. That's why the red is increasing and the green and the blues are reducing. And you can also see here that the red is almost crossing the whole parade. And then do I need to do the same color in the gamma? I don't know. We can see. See if I go in the gamma as well. So all the midtones would be also very similar color, or I can also make it the opposite color. But here, if I want to go for a summer look, I would maybe keep it here. So if we go before and after, you can see that how nice and warm this looks. But what we can do with the lift is that all the lifts, all these areas, you can see these are the shadows areas. If we bring it down, then you can see that in all the shadows, there is a weird blues, because I'm bringing all the shadows towards the blue. But if I keep it neutral, of course it's neutral, I can maybe bring it a little bit down. So usually that's the rule of thumb, that gain and gamma, if they go in one direction, the lift goes in the opposite direction. So if they are both going towards a warm, I might bring the lift to a little bit cool-ish side. So let's see how this image looks before and after. So this is a kind of a certain look we are giving to the image now, super summery look, and this you might have seen in a lot of movies. So let's copy this, maybe let's name it to, and I want to copy this setting to the maybe this clip. So this still looks a really nice clip, but if I do that, then you can see that it gives a super summer vibe. I personally think it's a little bit too much, so maybe I would reduce the gain a little bit down. And I also think that maybe the sky is a bit dark. So you see, that's why it's really handy to label all the node, because if I see that the sky is a bit dark, I can just go here, hue versus luminance, go to the graph here, and increase the blues a little bit. And also maybe increase the saturation, hue versus saturation, because I think I increase the saturation of the blues. Yeah, so that's what the summer look is now. We go color look, or maybe I think that maybe it's a bit too much, so I would reduce it still down. I personally really like it. I can give you another example. For example, let's grab still here, because I really like this setting. We go to this node and I want this setting to be on this image. That looks really cool. Everything looks really perfect. And if I want to give a curve, summer look, I don't even do anything with the curves because this already looks really nice. The colors are really pretty. If I want to give a color look, I go to gain, bring it a bit more towards, orange, yellowish side. I usually bring it more towards, the orangish side. Also gamma a bit more towards that. Already looks so good. So good. Lift goes a little bit down. So if we bring the lift down, you can see that all the shadows areas have become blue. So I would bring it down to here. So you see, the summer vibe is there. There's all the highlighted areas have become a bit more oranges from white. You can see this was like this, and all the shadows have become bluish. So this complementary color from orange to the blue also gives a really unique look. This was how it was before. It just looks like a really nice commercial kind of image, commercial shot where, yeah, you are in the mountains, everything is nice and bright, really nice colors, everything. But if you want to give it like a summer look, you go to primary curves and change the gain and gamma and the lift. And now you have a completely different look. So yeah, that's how you use primary color wheels to also give a certain look to an image. So I really hope that, yeah, you're learning a lot. And I would also recommend you to pause at this time, because we have covered in really short section, we have covered a lot. So whatever we have learned, maybe watch it again and maybe just practice with all the clips I've given to you. And yeah, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. And now let's move to the next section, because we have really cool effects coming.